Welcome to SDH's coverage of the USL-W League in the South Central and the South Atlantic. And we will drop by and let you know everything that's going on with these franchises. Athens United, Red Wolves, SSA, Tennessee SC, and that is our featured interview this week toward the end of the show. We catch up with the top-ranked team in USL-W, and it's a really cool interview that we got to catch up with, find out what it's like to be chased every single week and everybody giving you their best. Birmingham Legion, Greenville Liberty, Asheville City, and in the South Atlantic, it's Tormenta, Fayetteville, Wake FC, the Charlotte Eagles, SC United Bantams, Carolina Ascent, North Carolina Fusion, and the Courage U23s. And so that is what we are staring at this week when it comes to all of the activity. But taking you back through the schedule of the South Central and the South Atlantic, last week at Spain Park on May 31st, SSA and Birmingham Legion had a 2-2 draw, which brings us to our match of the week in the South Central. It was at Paladin Stadium on the campus of Furman University, Tennessee SC and Greenville Liberty. Here's your highlights courtesy of the Liberty, their own selves, and Sports Engine and USL-W.
Of the pass, and I would say that's probably true of both teams so far. Both teams have had a number of opportunities, but maybe just a little bit lacking in quality of passes. Here's a through ball in trouble for Tennessee, shot and scored. Henley Grunts went vertical, but could not change the direction back, and there it is, goal number 1 at 40 minutes and 47 seconds showing on the clock there. We'll work on getting you a goal scorer here in just a minute. We believe that it was Isabel Cadsbin. There's Macanjula, who has been so good in that back right spot so far. Simmons with a cut back into the inside. She's got an opportunity to do something special. Cuts back to the left foot, sends it across the face of goal, and it's in! Goal! Greenville Liberty off the assist from Jalea Simmons. She went right, she went left, she got everybody thinking she was going to have a crack at it with the left foot, sends it all the way across the face of goal, and it's buried. We're level, 53 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock, and the Greenville Liberty are back in the contest. It's across the face of goal. Good angle, good read. Bouncing around and headed in. That ball just popping up, down, and around. And the last player to get a look at it was Madeline Podolsky. The brace notched at 67 minutes and 20 seconds of football. Podolsky gets her second off of the corner kick conceded by the Greenville Liberty. Mark Shelley, nothing really fancy, nothing really flashy. It was just a ball that popped up in the air. Podolsky realized she had an attack angle that no Liberty players did. Went up, found the header, picked the spot that Henley Grunst wasn't, headed it into the turf and into the back of the net, and just like that, Tennessee right back on top.
But just some failed clears have led to the wrong...
Another opportunity as Grunch just missed, and it's going to be a third goal. So just like that, the momentum of this game has completely turned on its head for the Greenville Liberty. Henley Grunts came out trying to stop a ball that got sent into the box. She overplayed it, went flying across the face of the far side Tennessee attacker, slid out past. It was walked back, and the hat trick is scored by Madeline Podolsky at 69 minutes and 40 seconds played. Podolsky has now recorded the hat trick for Tennessee SC, who have taken command of this contest. It was about 15 minutes of Greenville Liberty leading the charge. And then since then, Tennessee has just flipped that narrative right back around. Now have a 2-goal lead on the road against the home side Greenville Liberty.
So a big test for Tennessee SC, and we will catch up with the head coach of Tennessee SC coming up in short order toward the tail end of the show, Logan Fisher, and we'll catch up with Logan and find out what it's like right now, being at the top of the charts in USL League W and everybody chasing after you. Other activity in the past week, it was Red Wolves beating Athens United in USL-W by the final of 9-0. It was at Marathon Park on June 2nd. SSA beat Greenville Liberty 2-0. Tennessee SC drew Asheville City on the 4th in the midweek in Nolensville Stadium. Homer Smiles Stadium in suburban Birmingham. Red Wolves beat Birmingham by the final of 4-1, and then the Liberty rebounded at Paladin Stadium, 1-0 winners over SSA, and that sets us up right now with the standings in the USL-W League. When it comes to the South Central, we'll go back and let you know what's going on with the South Atlantic coming back in short order. But with the activity in the South Atlantic, right now the standings, North Carolina Courage, after 4 matches, they have a points per match average of 2.5. Carolina Ascent, North Carolina Fusion, Wake FC, South Georgia Tormenta, each have 2 points per match on average. South Carolina United Bantams at 1.5. Charlotte Eagles at 0.5 point, and Fayetteville has not won a match this season in the South Atlantic Division. So that sets up schedules and lets you know what else is going on coming up. It is a very light schedule coming up over the next little while in the South Central, where Tennessee SC is at Nolensville, and they are hosting Chattanooga Red Wolves on the 7th. Then on the 8th in the South Central at Greenwood at UNC Asheville. Asheville City's hosting Greenville Liberty. 2 matches in 3 days for Birmingham Legion. They go to SSA in Marathon Park on the 8th, and then they go to Ravenwood. It's a long road trip. Taking the tricky triangle. Go to Ravenwood to play Tennessee SC on the 10th. On the 11th at Greenwood at Asheville at UNC Asheville. SSA is playing Asheville City. And Greenville Liberty on the 12th are hosting Athens United at Paladin Stadium. And that is the rundown of all of the activity in the South Central when it comes to that particular time frame. When it comes to the South Atlantic, what has happened and what will happen in the South Atlantic, they kind of cruised into the month of June. Stadium Field at Cary, Courage beat Wake by the final of 4-0. Fusion, same score over Charlotte at Truist Stadium. The soccer field at South Carolina at Southeastern Freight Line Soccer Center, Bantams 4-0 winners over Fayetteville Fury. And then it was South Georgia Tormenta, 3-2 winners in a shootout, 5-goal thriller over Carolina Ascent in Statesboro. North Carolina Fusion lost at home to Wake FC back on the 4th by a final of 1-0. At Charlotte Christian, Eagles lost to Bantams by the final of 2-0. Carolina turned around and beat Fayetteville. They put 7 on the board in that one. At the Community School of Davidson, which is where Carolina is doing all of their home matches, Charlotte Christian is awaiting the Eagles and North Carolina Courage on Saturday. Same for Carolina Ascent at CSD as they take on Tormenta at 6 o'clock. You also have Bantams at Southeastern Freight Line Soccer Center hosting Wake on Saturday night, and that will carry you into the activity on the 10th on Monday night. Once again, schedules are kind of all over the place because you have to get matches in a certain time frame. At Bill Yeager in Fayetteville, North Carolina Courage comes to visit the Fury. At Ravenwood, once again, we mentioned Tennessee. On the 11th at Tormenta Stadium, the Tuesday, has Tormenta hosting Bantams. It is Greenwood Field. It is Asheville City. We mentioned that in the South Central. Ting Park, the home for Wake FC. They get to host the North Carolina Courage. That one is on Wednesday night as we get closer and closer to the end of this particular week of competition. It is at CSD on the 12th on Wednesday. Ascent hosting North Carolina Fusion. And it is at Charlotte Christian, Charlotte Eagles, next Thursday, hosting at South Georgia Tormenta. All the news in the USL-W League. We have the team of the month for the month of May, and there is some South Atlantic and South Central influence in it. It is Anna Haddock, and we get to talk to Coach Fisher about Anna Haddock and the midfield for Tennessee SC. She was a part of the nominated midfield, and also in this particular part of the footprint, you end up with Moma Nakau for South Georgia Tormenta. Julie Mackin, they are on the bench for the team of the month for May in USL-W. So You've got W players that are set to compete in the TST Women's Tournament. The power rankings for week number 5 had, once again, Tennessee SC at the top of the ladder, being chased by Florida Elite and a couple of other folks. That is the North Carolina Courage is ranked number 10 in the current round of power rankings, with that matchup at Charlotte coming up. Last year's runners-up, once again, chasing Indy. Indy, remember, they were the W League champs last year. They're at 9. Courage is at number 10. Also looking through the rest of the 15, it is Chicago City, Oakland Soul, Morris Elite, Minnesota Aurora, and United PDX. And so that is what we are looking at for all the activity in USL-W. And here is the interview that we had where we catch up with the top-ranked team in the power rankings, Tennessee SC, and their head coach, Logan Fisher, to find out what it's like right now at Tennessee Soccer Club. So my first question for you, Logan, if I had told you that at this point of the season, 5 matches in, you'd be giving up a goal a match, and that you'd already scored 29, and you were 4-0-1 in your first 5, what would you have told me?
Snap your hand off. Something I reminded the girls after our last game against Greenville, 3-3. Not our best performance, but on our worst day, we scored 3 goals against second best team in the conference, and yeah, for sure would have snapped your hand off. So we're extremely excited of where this journey's going, and again, like you said, the goals just keep coming, so I can't complain.
And you look at a division in the South Central that is as competitive as it is. When you look at yourselves, Asheville City, Chattanooga, Legion, Liberty, SSA, and Athens United, and you in this division, I think it's one of the roughest divisions out there in USL-W. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're 100% correct. I mean, even just the ability for other teams to adapt and provide challenges, no matter, even, we haven't had an easy game. Even Athens was, the scoreline might have reflected it's probably an easy night on the job, but there's such a mystery. Every squad has, massive amount of talent, massive amount of ability to play in multiple formations and causes problems. So, massive shout out goes to my coaching staff alongside the players, because, we have to really do serious digging to find out what is the potential that these teams are bringing to the table. So you're 100% correct. There's no easy game, home or away. This conference is very difficult to conquer.
When you have someone that ended up being a part of the Team of the Month in May, and that came out on Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning, when you have someone who has SEC experience in Anna Haddock, who is just lights out, her 3rd season in the W League, she's one of your stalwarts in the midfield, 3 goals, 2 assists, and 4 starts. What's it like having her with the Southeastern Conference experience being an anchor for you to get things done?
Without a doubt, the most valuable tool that any coach could have is having an Anna Haddock. Not only what she does on the field, what she does off the field with the rest of the squad, what she does for the club and the community. She leading up to Greenville away, she was at tryouts helping out the club with the girls' side. So extremely valuable. Sets a massive standard to the rest of the girls of this is what it means to not only be a pro, but to what it means to be a part of a club and not just take from the club. Obviously we provide fantastic training, everything else that goes along with being part of USL-W, but giving back to that, it's not just a take for Anna, it's a transaction, and she gives back more than what she takes from the club. Again, I can't say more positive words about Anna. The positivity that she brings to the group, the positivity that she brings to the club, will go a long way past when I fully expect her to go on to the next level. well, what she's doing for us these past 3 summers is going to lay the foundation for years and years of what it means to be a Tier C USL player and the expectation and standard that it means to wear the badge and give back to the club and those youth girls that are wanting to be Anna Haddocks in 5-6 years. So
when you have a roster like you have, and I guess this will be the opportunity to brag on your roster a little bit, when you have obviously the Southeastern Conference flavor, the Tennessee State flavor that's there, because, you've got folks in a bunch of different conferences, but they're, Nashville, it's like Brentwood, Hendersonville. I mean, it is sprinkled through the state of Tennessee that has brought everything together for this club. What's it like to have this kind of talent in a state of soccer like Tennessee to come together and do what you've been able to do there in USL-W?
It's phenomenal. I mean, I don't think Tennessee gets the credit for the level of soccer and the level of players that we produce in this state. Not just us, but the clubs in Memphis, your FC Alliances in Knoxville. The level of player coming out of the state certainly needs to be, I think, credited more. The ability to bring the schools that we bring in together, and not just bragging on the SEC girls, but Meredith Nye, for example, been a stalwart for us for the last 2 years, played a ton of minutes from Tennessee Tech, from down there, just north of Chattanooga. I mean, even last year, Shelby Hash is coming from UT Chat, Katie Bourne, who's left us to go to Chattanooga, coming from Austin P, which is also a TSC alum, but just the level of not only what they can bring, but the consistency that they bring. And, it's not easy for all of these girls, again, competing with the SEC level that we've got in our squad to get in the squad. But again, going back to Meredith Nye and what she brings to the table, absolute, just everything you would want out of a player. And, Tennessee Tech, I know, is very, very lucky and privileged to have her, and so are we.
What's it like having a bullseye on your chest every time out? And I guess not just on your chest, but on your back too.
We don't think about it. Honestly, don't think about it. We still have the underdog mentality. We're not on a professional budget. We don't have what the Chattanoogas in our conference may have. Birmingham Legion being supported by a pro club, even looking outside of our conference, Lexington, Indy 11. We just don't have that. So we carry a chip on our shoulder for sure. I remind the girls of that quite often, and we have to, man. I say it to the girls all the time, and we spoke about it with Anna there. If we go, 500 and give back to the club, I'll be happy. Now, 3 weeks in a row at number 1 in the nation in the power rankings, and doing very well in the conference, and still giving back to the club and the players coming through our club. That's massive return on investment for us. So, again, go back to your question. We honestly take every single game at a time. We don't look past anyone. Don't look past, doesn't matter if you're 7th in the table or first. Obviously we're first, but 2nd in the table. We give 100% attention and 100% respect to our next opponent, and then we start preparing for the next one. So I'd like to think that approach has probably taken that target off of us a little bit. Obviously, there is pressure there, but we haven't spoken about it with the girls. The first week it was nice. I told them to enjoy it, but keep that chip on their shoulder. And honestly, haven't spoken about it since, and they've just kept grinding out results. So,
how difficult or easy is it to assemble a roster on a yearly basis here in USL-W? Is it because of what you've established makes it easy, or because of where you are makes it difficult? What is the process like to assemble a roster every year?
I'd like to think this year was slightly more easy, just because of obviously winning the conference, going to playoffs, having national recognition last year. But I wouldn't say it's massively difficult. I spent a lot of time in the fall scouting players. Spring, obviously going out to watch games locally, because again, we try and, if it's not TSC alum, it's players from Tennessee that we're trying to bring in. But we have such a consistent core of girls that continue to come back to us, continue to perform at a very, very high level, continue to give back to the club, like I've reiterated on a couple of times, that will always be welcome here. And it's not just the girls that are starting and performing every single game. It's, I've spoken about Anna Haddock and Meredith Nye, but it's, your Mackenzie Stiffs and your Olivia Mills and girls like that are local girls. Stiff is a TSC alum herself, but these girls keep coming back to us and performing at a high level, and it's getting more and more difficult as we progress as a club, and for some girls to break into the squad, but they're still there. They're still performing. They're still training at a very, very high level. They're still meeting the standards and requirements that we ask of them to give back to TSC and be role models for our players coming through. And I'd like to think it's getting easier to build a squad, no doubt. I had to work pretty hard in a couple signings. I'd love to shout out Courtney Jones. That was one that I worked on for quite a while. Freshman coming out of Vanderbilt, going into her sophomore year. Very easy for her to stay in or to go home to Florida and compete in that conference, and she'd be wanted by any club in our league. But for her to stay and believe in what we're doing here, and to see her just mesh automatically with the girls that we have in the squad, I think it shows testament not only to the program, but to just how welcoming our girls are, that are consistent returners and are constantly pushing the standard here.
2 matches in 4 days. One is Friday night at Nolensville when you welcome Red Wolves. So you get the volunteer Copa, for lack of a better phrase, however you want to phrase what's going on there with you guys in a rivalry sense. Chattanooga comes to visit you on Friday. Then you got to turn around on Monday and head down to Birmingham, or you've got at Ravenwood. Sorry, you're at Ravenwood on Monday taking on Legion. So you got 2 matches in 4 days. How you want to handle it?
One game at a time. We know what Chattanooga bring.
Dollar in the jar for you there, Logan.
Yeah. All eyes have, since the final whistle against Greenville, all eyes have been on Chattanooga. Haven't even thought about Birmingham. Chattanooga is a massive, massive test for us. We need a response coming off of our performance against Greenville. I'm extremely happy to welcome back Katie Shea Collins into the squad. She's been away with the United States under-20s, so she's going to be back in. Very excited for that. And again, we'll look to conquer Chattanooga, take care of that task, and spend the weekend preparing for Birmingham.
So that's the rundown of everything going on in the South Central and the South Atlantic in USL-W. If you are in market and can catch up with any of those matches that we talked about in the South Atlantic and the South Central, please do. If you are in market and cannot follow along, you can catch up with our friends on local providers and through Sports Engine. Set your priorities and notifications to let you know when the matches are in order. And if you are out of market, you can do the same thing. You can follow along at USLWleague.com. You can go to Sports Engine, set your preferences for the teams in those 2 divisions, or you can catch up with us every single week when it comes to activity in the USL-W League. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by and hanging out with us, finding out more about USL-W in the South Atlantic and the South Central. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the game.